Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. I'm so excited to be here today because we've got a treat. As you know, this is our first interview of the Entrepreneurial Inspiration series that we are doing every month. And I did not sleep well last night because I was so excited about this. Let me check my tech 1 second and make sure that we are live in the group, at least where we're supposed to be. Yeah, here we are. Awesome. All right. So as always, you guys know I've got Facebook and YouTube down here on my laptop. YouTubers, I want you to smash the subscribe button so you never miss one of my live weekly trainings. And if you're coming to us through Facebook, and you have to do it one time for each device that you're on, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard and Facebook permission to talk to each other. Basically, you're saying to Facebook, it's okay for StreamYard to show us your name in the comments, because otherwise it just says Facebook user, and then we can't really have a conversation until I get off this StreamYard thing and into the group. And that way April and I can see who's here with us. But you only have to do it one time. So if you've already done it once, don't worry about it. Today is a very special day. The new monthly series that you guys asked for when I polled the group a few months ago and said, what would you like to hear more of? This was hands down one of the most popular things. So I had to bring this to you guys. This series is the Entrepreneurial Inspiration series. And we are interviewing one of our awesome Facebook group members each month about their journey as an entrepreneur, the ups, the downs, all the stuff in between. So April Young is here with us today, and I'm going to introduce her here in just a second. The reason why I wanted to start this is not only because you guys told me that you like the idea, but also because, and the reason why I asked you if you'd even want to do this and like this, is because the entrepreneurial space, in my opinion, the last few years has lacked honesty and transparency. There are very few big names out there that are willing to be super transparent and honest, but there are far more that are not transparent and honest. And when all we see is success, the 6-figure year, the 6-figure launch, everybody talking about working their business from their private jet headed to their yacht, right? That's discouraging. We need more discussions from real people just like you and me. And my prayer is that these discussions like today are going to begin to normalize the conversation, normalize the true journey of entrepreneurship, that it is tough, but that it is really worth it. And you come away from these feeling inspired and lit up, knowing that someone just like you is doing the same thing you are, feeling the same things you're feeling, but they're doing it. And that is inspiring for you. I just got chills, y'all. Okay, but let me introduce myself just in case this is the first time we've met and you're thinking, who the heck is this lady? I am Tracy Beavers. I am your business and sales coach, and I have over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you get visible and grow your email list. I offer private one-to-one coaching, which is full for the summer, which is very exciting. But I also have an 8-week group coaching program called Business Visibility Made Easy. It is the program for email list growth. We just ended our 4th round of that. The next round will start in October. If you're interested, go to tracybeavers.com/BVME to get all the information about that program and to get on the wait list. And as we go along and as I'm talking to April, I want you to pop your questions and comments into the chat. She has the biggest heart for all of us, just like we do for her. And I know she's going to be happy to answer anything you ask her. So let me introduce April to you. She is a communication coach and strategist. She holds a master's degree in professional communication from Southern Utah University and a bachelor's degree in musical performance, that's kind of cool, from Dixie State University. And over the last 14 years in the real estate and lending industry, she has seen the value that effective communication skills have in business. And I say amen to that because that is so true. Whether you're a realtor, a lender, a small business owner, a coach, consultant, communication, she feels like, needs to be our superpower. And she helps women in business hone those communication skills, carve out that unique communication style that's authentic to them, create those strategies that help and support them on their path to success. And she also coaches new and aspiring public speakers and presenters, which that's really cool, to help them prepare to take the stage, so they can spread their message to the world. April, welcome. We are so excited to have you here, especially because you're the very first entrepreneurial interview.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to be here. I'm super excited for this. And thank you so much for asking me and letting me be the first one to blaze this new trail for you.
Is there anything that I left off in your bio that you wanted to mention? Now, I know it's okay for me to say this. I know you have a military career as well.
Yes. So in between my time in the real estate side of this coin and the lending side of the coin was a 3-year stint in the Marine Corps as a musician. So yeah, my last 17 years have been adventurous and a little bit of a ride, but I've learned a lot along the way. So
yeah, nice. Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so kick this off. Now, I said a little bit about who you are and what you do, but I want you to kind of drill down into that for those of us. Tell us who you serve, how you serve them, kind of some details around that.
Yeah. So my main clients are real estate agents, but like you said, I do work with coaches, small business owners, photographers, really anyone in a service-based industry benefits from what I teach. But I do focus on those in the real estate world because that's where, the bulk of my last, 17 years of experience lies. But what I teach is interpersonal communication skills, strategies that you can use to make sure that you're building solid relationships with your clients, because most of us, at least, don't just want to be out there constantly chasing business. Where's my next deal coming from? Where's my next client coming from? When you're brand new in the business, that's kind of what happens. But as you go along, you should be building relationships with these clients that you serve so that they come back to you. And you know that you're always going to have a base of people that you can go back to and say, hey, do you need to buy or sell a home? Or, do you know someone? Or if you're a photographer, hey, it's been a year or two, let's update your family photos, or whatever the case may be. Right. But using effective communication skills and strategies will help you to build those relationships. Mm-hmm. The goal is to never give your clients a reason to go somewhere else. Like, there should be no reason for them to use your competition whatsoever.
Love it. That is so true. Repeat that for everybody in case they missed it.
Yeah. So you should never, ever give your client a reason to go somewhere else. They should have no reason at all to use your competition. And the way that you do that you almost guarantee that, mm-hmm. is communication. It needs to be regular. It needs to be frequent. It needs to be relevant and valuable. And that's what I teach. And I teach simple ways to implement strategies for doing that.
Yeah. I'm all about simple and easy when it comes to building these businesses. And I want to take a sec. Hey, Jill, Jill's my assistant. She's here with us today. Jill, I want you to grab that quote from April. Never give your clients a reason to go somewhere else. Let's make a quote graphic and quoting April on that, because that is super powerful.
Thank you.
And I want to put that out on social media. So
let's do it.
All right. So tell us, little known fact for those that are just meeting you, tell us about building this business. What motivated you to start this business? How did you get the courage to do it? And that you're building alongside a full-time job.
Yes. So yes, I am building along a full-time job, which is a challenge for any of you that are doing the same thing. Like, that's a tough boat to be in sometimes. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But the inspiration came about 5 years ago or so. This was actually right before I started my master's program, and was kind of the catalyst for doing the master's program. I was new to the mortgage industry at this point, and I was just in my office one day, doing something, and I heard a conversation down the hall, and it went something like this. I didn't know that XYZ was going to happen, and it was loud. This client was upset, and I just stopped for a minute, and kind of a light bulb went off, and I thought, how did they not know? Why did they not know? Right. Simple, because they weren't effectively communicated to. And again, from being in the real estate industry prior to that, through, the bubble of the 05, 06, 07 timeframe, the crash of 08, 09, the recovery in 10 through 12, all of that, communication that was all I did, was communicate with banks and clients. And so hearing that from someone else's client just kind of clicked that light bulb. And I was like, that's it. That is the key to happy clients that come back for more, that refer people to us over and over. So how can we implement better communication in our industry? So decided, I'm going to go hone my skills. Got a master's degree, and that was fun. Challenging. It really was fun, but it was hard.
Yes.
But again, still working full time through all of that, and just honing those skills and really focusing in on where kind of those key points for communication would be within the industry. So that's how my business was born.
Nice.
Now, again, full-time job. So
And
5 years later,
kids and
still
husband.
just, I feel like I'm still in that beginning stages, because it is hard when you work full-time. I have kids, I only have so much, bandwidth every day. And I'm sure some of the viewers can relate to that, because
Absolutely.
you have a dream, you want to build something really big, but you have obligations as well. And so it can be tough. Some days I don't touch my business at all. And it sucks. I hate that I don't get to touch my business every day, but some days are like that. And that's okay. It's okay. I finally have moved mostly to the mindset of, it's my business at my pace and my time. Like, I see others out there just crushing it. And yes, I want that success too, but they started where I am. At some point, they started at zero. Somebody said not too long ago, even Gary Vee started with 1 follower, right?
Yeah, probably his mom.
His mom or best friend or a brother or something. Your first 5 followers just come from the people you know. So, I always also like to look back at where I was when I started with just this tiny little idea, and then taking the first steps. And now, even in the last year, just the growth that I've seen personally and the network that I'm building, my business is not exploding, but I got my first client in the last year, like big paid client in the last year. And I hosted and coached a speaking event just a few months ago. And so I never would have done those things before. So there's growth that's involved in the day-to-day grind. So yeah.
Let's walk through that just a little bit, because I think what you said was super powerful, because you and I relate. I built my businesses alongside my full-time job, my kids, all that other stuff. But even if people don't have a full-time job, they may have something alongside their life that feels like a full-time job. Like if they're a full-time caregiver for their adult parent, or maybe they are a mom that doesn't have to work outside the home, but they've got littles that they homeschool or something like that. So how did you reconcile in your mind that, and how did you get to that space where you felt okay with your own pace and your own journey? Like, that's really hard to do.
It is very difficult. And a lot of it comes from reaching out to mentors outside of your space that can take a neutral third-party view and give you advice that you might not think of on your own. Whether you take it or not, their perspective is really valuable. So I have a couple of mentors that I just really connected with, and their input and their views on life have really kind of helped me get to that point where I can give myself the grace to not devote my entire life to business, because I can't, but also shedding the expectations of others. This is huge. So I'm 40, right? And it's probably only been the last 2 years where I finally stepped outside of what was, expected of me for my whole life, and said, I don't want to do that. I want this. I want to build this. I'm going to live life on my terms, not society's terms. So it's a really big kind of a cliche thing, societal expectations, but it's true. Whether it's, your community, whether it's your family, whether it's, your relationships, whatever those expectations are, they don't exist. They're in your head. And once you can get past that and get rid of them, then you have freedom to really decide how you devote your energy, because life is just energy. It's transfers of energy. Some days all of it goes to work or the kids or whatever that main priority in your life is. But some days, guess what? I get 4 hours where I can just focus on business. Guess what I'm going to do? All of that energy goes there. So it's just like a bank account. You budget your energy just like you budget your money. And when you get your thoughts in the right place, that becomes so much easier.
And I love that you are looking back, because a lot of times we forget to look back. And you and I met a year and a half ago or more, almost 2 years ago. And
it's been a while.
My Business Visibility Made Easy program, the very first founding round of it, And I have seen you, you don't think you've exploded on social media, but I have watched you. So I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yes.
I watched you going live and posting and
Yeah.
creating your social media stuff consistently. And I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm like so proud for you because
Thank you.
Do you find though that there might be a little bit of a blessing in having a full-time job?
Yes. And I didn't see it until I won a free coaching call with some business coach a few months back. Where I was like, sure, great, let's do this. It was a 9-minute call. And she said one thing on that call that has stuck with me. And it was when we were having this very conversation, like, you know, I work full time. How do I do both? And she was like, I want you to look at it this way. Your full-time job is your angel investor for your business. And that was money right there. I mean, I would have paid $500 for that call just for that line, because that opened my eyes to say, you know what, that's right. I'm looking at my job the wrong way.
Yes.
I was looking at it as a constraint, as something holding me back, but really it's fueling the ability for me to have this business at all, because it's not profitable yet.
Right.
You know, I have a little bit of income from clients, but my expenses are still more than what I'm bringing in. But I can pay them because I have this job that's allowing me to build this and still pay my mortgage and feed my kids and my husband and all the things, you know, go on vacation twice a year and all these things. So yes, it is a blessing, but I just needed someone to point out to me that it was a blessing.
Yeah, I love that perspective because you're so right. For me, it was the same thing. There was no way that I could leave my full-time job making 6 figures or more a year and then just jump into this with no money coming in. I knew I could not do that because the stress of it would completely extinguish any creativity I had or chance of success. But just like you, I had days where I was thinking, I am so constrained in this. This is just a monkey on my back. But I love that perspective. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. An angel investor in your business. Because it did give me the funds needed to invest in my business, because it's a business. And a lot of people forget that. They think I'll build a business in the online space and it's not going to cost me anything.
No, please. It's expensive.
That's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah. Oh, I love that perspective. Okay, so share with us. We're talking about a few of them already. I wanted to ask you about the biggest challenges you faced in the beginning and how you navigated through them. We've kind of talked about the job part. Is there anything else you feel like was a challenge for you, and how did you get through it?
Yeah, so there's a couple. I think the first one is just how do you find clients, right? For me, there was a pretty substantial amount of time, I'd say up until probably January of this year, where my audience was too broad. I hadn't really defined who it was I wanted to help and how I was going to help them. So in trying to reach everybody, I reached very few, right? So that was kind of the biggest upfront hurdle, was really understanding that once I narrowed down my audience, then I would actually be able to reach people, because you think, oh, I want to include everybody, and then you reach nobody.
Right.
But when you truly define who it is that you are trying to help, then you can actually go reach them. There's 8 billion people in this world. I promise if you narrow down your audience, you'll be able to find them.
Yes.
But if you try to reach them all, you're not NBC News. You're not going to be broadcasting millions of TVs every night. So
you're not NBC News.
You know, you've got to you really have to narrow it down. So again, I sought a mentor. I found someone that asked me the right question to make the light bulb flip again and say, oh, this is what I want. So my job kind of played into that again, because I was like, oh, I want to leave the industry. I'm tired of it. I'm burned out. And this mentor was like, well, why? Because I'm burned out. She's like, but in your business, you have a business that can serve the industry you're in. Why don't you just marry them together? And I was like, why didn't I think of that 5 years ago? So here we are. Instead of trying to separate the two, join them together. And so that's what I've done.
Yeah. And that's the power of having a coach or a mentor, because people are shocked when I say I've got a coach. They're like, wait, you're a coach, you have a coach? I'm like, yes, because I can't see my own stuff.
That's right.
It's moments like that somebody comes alongside you and goes, and you're sitting there going, duh.
I know. Yep. It's like you asked me to write a bio, and I can write bios for other people, but when I write my own bio, it feels like a classified ads.
I know.
So having a coach to help you as well. Not only does it set a good example for your clients that you're like, hey, I'm coaching you, but I'm also being coached because I want to be a good coach for you. And I want to learn more ways to serve my clients and to help grow my business at the same time as I'm helping you do the same thing. So it's kind of that trickle down effect of lead by example.
Right.
But yeah, nobody wins in the online space alone. Nobody wins alone. I mean, you need a coach, you need business besties, you need, a community, whether that's a VA that helps you or, your social media manager or whoever it is. Maybe it's your sister who you just vent to her all the time because you feel like you don't have enough time to work on your business. Whoever it is, no one succeeds alone in online space or in a physical space. So that's really important.
So what are some things that surprised you along the way in building your business? And then give us a milestone that you've achieved recently that you're really, really proud of.
So a milestone, I definitely, when I got my first paid, like larger paying private client, that was so exciting. And I was like, I can do this forever.
Yes.
And I just felt like I had just won the lottery. And I mean, it wasn't like, huge sums of money, but it was my first person that took that leap of faith and said, I want to pay you to help me. Right. And that really validated my idea, my idea that, hey, I can do this. So now I just have to repeat the process. So that was a big milestone. What was the other question that you just asked?
Okay. I didn't throw too many questions because I get
That's okay.
So what's something that surprised you?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
So something that surprised me along the way, I would have to say, is how freeing it felt to start moving towards something that I wanted. I mean, again, it comes back to what you're expected to do, and like you have obligations, and we always say to ourselves, oh, I could never do that. Yeah, you could. You can. You just have to take the next step. So the surprise, I think, came in really how simple each little baby step is. You need a social media presence. Okay, well, go create an Instagram account. That was simple. That's progress. Right. It feels like nothing, but that's progress. So just some of the things that I've been able to do or implement, just how easy it's been to do those things was a bit surprising. And then on the flip side of that coin, some things that are quite difficult that maybe I thought weren't going to be difficult, were like, whoa, that was a little shocking, like setting up a website. So I just hired a VA. I'm like, you do it. I can't do it. So, those things are surprising to me as far as kind of like those material type things, but my own growth, I would say, is the biggest surprise. Really coming out of my own shell and building something and every day is kind of a new experience, but I was never good in, new social environments where I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And now I just walk into the room and I'll pick a person and I'll go make a friend and build my network. So my own personal growth is probably the best surprise of all.
That's awesome, because you're just connecting as a human being, getting to know another human being, and that's so cool. I love it. Oh shoot, what was my question? I was going to ask you something, and now I can't remember.
Oh no!
Oh good. Oh, I know what it was. What do you wish you would have known before you started this online business?
I wish I would have known, or maybe not known, but at least had guidance up front. Someone asking me the right question to decide who I wanted to serve. If I had dictated my audience 5 years ago, I'd probably be way farther ahead right now.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest one. But I mean, I try to approach each experience in my business as a learning experience. And other than just that, knowing how to niche down and really define my audience, that's the biggest thing I wish I would have known. But it's just like every day I find things, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket, or that's not working, I'm gonna get rid of that. And so just be a sponge, learn as much as you can from the people around you and use that to help you move forward. But define your audience first. Don't wait 5 years like I did. Just figure out what you want to do. And the best part of it is too, I think this is another thing that I was just kind of stuck on, and someone just needed to tell me up front, was your business, your niche, your service, your programs, they can change. They're not set in stone from day one. It's going to evolve. A business is a living, organic thing. It will change.
Yeah.
It will look different in 5 years than it looks right now. It will look different in 18 months than it looks right now. So pick a path and stick with it
Yeah.
at least 6 months, and then let things change as they will. So
I
that's
love that.
probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's so true because we're not building a McDonald's restaurant
That's right.
where hardly anything ever changes,
Yeah.
right? We're building an online business that is a breathing, living thing, and we're driving the bus on it as
Yeah.
human beings. And so it is going to grow and change and evolve. So I love what you said about you did dive in, but you swam and you figured it out and it evolved and here you are.
And
And
here
you
we are.
have a concept because you have paying clients.
Yeah.
I love
Yep. And it's a journey. Also, I hear people all the time that are just discouraged and
it.
they
Yes.
feel like they're not moving forward. But that's when, like we said, looking back, that's when I always say, you know what? Where were you a year ago? What was happening a year ago? And how far have you come from that moment? Why are you feeling stuck? And a lot of times it's, well, I'm not closing any deals, or I don't have anything in my pipeline. Well, what's happening in your life right now that's maybe taking some of that energy flow away from your business? So, your business isn't a separate part of your life. It's one aspect of your life, and it's influenced by all the others. So just like your body, your physical health, your mental, emotional, all of those things are connected. It's true with your business too. Your whole life is connected. And when you're running the show, a solo business, or, solo, and maybe you've got one person helping you, that's impacted by the other things that happen in your life. So if you get stuck, if you get stalled, try to just take a step back, look back and take a step back to a point where you were feeling good, and go back to that. Go back to those basics. What's one thing I can do right now that will get me back on the right path?
Love that. Because I was about to ask you, what do you do when you feel overwhelmed or stuck? And what you're saying is
Yeah.
think through, because what I'll do for my clients, if they say, well, all of a sudden I don't have any clients, I don't have any leads, I don't have anything. I'm like, think back to when you did,
Yep.
what's changed. And then they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I stopped doing this or I stopped doing that. I'm like, okay, then we got to get back to basics, and we got to because there's some basics of the business that need to happen every day for it to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
What would you say, looking back over at least the last year or so,
Mhm.
has been the key ingredient that has made you tenacious and just to stick with this and just keep going? What is there one common thing that you can put your finger on?
I would have to say just that when I do see, people in my industry or my own clients or people that I know doing the things that I coach people to do, and they're seeing such large success, like knowing that there's a need for this, that's really what lights me up. And just when I do have the chance to coach someone or just have a conversation, even a one-on-one, like go to lunch or coffee, it just, again, reinforces that people want to connect. People don't know how to connect. There's a need there. There's a disconnect in the connection. Yeah, there's a disconnect in the connection between people, largely imposed by COVID. Pre-COVID, we didn't have to think about any of this. And now, technology has come in and invaded so much of our lives. And while it's a fantastic tool, people are relying on it way too much to try to connect with people, but it's a one-dimensional connection.
Yeah.
You need three-dimensional connections. So that's really what motivates me to keep going, is like, there is a need for this. When I have people reach out to me and say, hey, I'm interested, I want to learn more, can you help me with this? Or that's when I'm like, okay, there's a need here. I need to keep going. Even, if I don't have clients right now, what can I do to get some more? And then, I'm a born educator. I love teaching, training, educating, developing people, because when everybody grows together, everyone is better.
Love it. Yes.
That's really my biggest thing, is just, I just want to help others be better versions of themselves.
I love it. And what I especially like about what you said is you are looking around in the landscape and you're seeing people that are doing what you're doing and they're having success. But instead of seeing them as competition and comparing yourself to them and letting it discourage you, you're using it as fuel to encourage you to keep going, because okay, I want to do what they're doing. I'm just as good as they are. They've had success, so I am. So it's almost like you're seeing them as what's possible.
Yeah, always.
I think that is so great. I want everybody to hear that. Take the people in the space that are doing what you're doing and are having success, and see them as the doorway to what's possible rather than why don't I have what they have? Yeah.
My favorite thing to do when I find someone that's in um, a similar role, like I finally found someone local that does something very similar to what I do, but her audience is different. But
Yeah.
we both do communication coaching. I invited her to lunch and we just talked. If you find someone that's ahead of you or that you're like, man, they're killing it, and you're able to reach out and meet with them, just have a conversation, just learn from them, get input.
Yes.
Hey, can I ask you this question? I'd love to learn more about your business.
Right.
It needs to be a two-way conversation, of course,
For
but
sure.
you could really learn, and then you build camaraderie and you build collaboration within your industry. So those are priceless. I mean, when you can get people on your side that know what you do, that appreciate what you do, and are even in that same space, maybe they get a client that isn't a good fit for them, but they say, hey, I know this person right here. Why don't you try working with them? You could get referrals from them because you just built a relationship and you nurtured it with communication. Yay!
Yes. Collaboration over competition every
Yep.
day of the week. I agree with you so
Yes,
much.
every day.
Yeah. April, tell us, what do you have on your horizon for your business in the next 3 to 6 months? With your
3 to 6 months. I do have another speakers conference coming up in October that I'll be coaching the speakers for. So I'm really excited about that. We host a program twice a year that we bring in 5 speakers. They pay a small fee to cover the cost of the venue and their coaching, but they get to coach with me for 4 weeks, and we start from scratch. We build their story, and then they share their story with a smallish, intimate audience to help them really boost their own confidence and all of these things to where they can go out and be speakers. So that's coming up. Still honing in my private coaching program and hoping to develop into a group program next year. So yeah, I'm taking clients, and I'm just ready for what the universe wants to give me in my business, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
What I believe that when we align ourselves with the gifts and talents we were given, that the universe just says, okay, here it
Yep.
is. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
I
awesome.
agree.
So the speakers thing, is that something that our audience could join in on?
So to be a speaker, you would have to physically be in the Portland, Oregon area. I mean, you can fly in, of course. We coach digitally. So like last year, or 2 years ago, we had a speaker come up from Los Angeles. So it is possible to be a speaker if you don't live here, but the event is held here and then it is streamed. So you do have the option to watch it online. But if you're interested, you can DM me and I can give you the details and see if it's a good fit.
Yeah, awesome. And then, do you have something for our audience today? I know you always have something cool.
Oh, well, I have a freebie that you can download. Are we sharing that in the comments? I don't know where we're putting
Yeah,
that. So I
Jill's
have,
going to throw that link in the
yes. So I have a free guide to communication that you can use. And again, it's not business specific. So whether you just want to learn how to communicate better in your life in general, or you're like, man, my emails kind of suck, or I don't know what to say, or I always sound like a 5th grader when I get up to talk to people, this guide is a great place to start.
Love it.
So I would say definitely go grab that. And then I post YouTube videos for training on how to just improve your skills, and stuff on Instagram. And, you can find me pretty much everywhere, all the popular platforms, but go grab my free guide. That's the best place to start. So that's my goodie for you today.
Awesome. I know we have some questions in the comments.
Okay.
If we've got another few minutes, I'd love to address
Yeah,
them.
sure.
So Selena asked, how do you know when you've narrowed down your niche to the irreducible minimum?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that the best way to know that you've really hit the nail on the head is when you start getting that influx of direct messages and your coaching program is growing and it's a constant, steady flow. When it's hit and miss, maybe you're not quite there yet. So I want to say this also is that niche is going to contract and expand as you go along as well. You might, and it depends on your niche as well. So if you're, a coach for photographers, let's say, that's pretty specific.
Yeah.
And within that, though, there are many types of photographers. So are you going just for photographers in general? That's very broad still.
Right.
Maybe you're a coach for boudoir photographers. That's even smaller. Well,
Right.
maybe you're a coach for male boudoir photographers. That's even smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So within those small niches, there are even smaller niches. So defining an irreducible niche, I think, is a little complicated.
Yeah.
I always say never speak in absolutes. That applies here. So when you find your niche, if you feel like you're still not quite reaching the people, narrow it down a little bit at a time until you get that comfortable spot of, okay, I've got people now, people are coming in, things are moving. And from there you can make adjustments.
Love it. Yeah, it does ebb and flow. You're absolutely right. And she also wanted to know who your coach is, if you don't mind sharing.
I coach with Lindsay Anderson. She's a local coach here in the Portland area. She has a huge presence on social media if you don't follow her, but she's a digital marketer and a business coach for 20 plus years now.
Nice.
And she lives close to me. I met her in person at a networking event,
Awesome.
building relationships again. And she has made such a huge difference in my business the last 6 months. So yeah.
Love it. And then also 6 months, is that a decent enough time to test an idea before you decide that it's not going to work?
It depends.
I know it's so hard there's no hard and fast answers here.
Yes. So if it's me, again, I don't have 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day to devote to my business. So for me, 6 months really means 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone that can devote more time to a business every day, 6 months might be enough. But what 6 months will give you is time. It gives you time to formulate ideas, get some social media going out there, talk to people, validate your idea, and really see if there's, a way forward with what you're currently doing, or if you need to make adjustments. But it's kind of like driving down a highway. When you drive down a straight highway, you don't just hold the wheel straight. There's bumps in the road, there's potholes, there's, birds on the road, there's roadkill. You got to steer around it, right? It's the same idea. So you're still going down that straight line highway for 6 months. But as you're doing that, you're making small tweaks along the way so that you don't fall in the potholes or run over a rabbit. So
Right. I love that analogy. And then she also asked, what are some daily basics that you feel like we all need to be doing to move our business forward? Now, I know my list, but I want to hear your list.
Okay. So my daily basics are pretty minimal, again, because I have other priorities to devote my energy to. So if you're someone like me who has a whole bunch of stuff, maybe you have a job, you're a caregiver, you have kids at home with you all the time, you're a stay-at-home parent, whatever that is that takes your energy. This is my mantra. No more 0 days. A 0 day is when you do absolutely nothing to move yourself forward. And it can be very simple. Like for me, whether it's I proofread a paragraph on my next article, that's something. Yes. And sometimes that's all it is. Or maybe I just go in and refresh a post on Instagram, or I go in and I add something to a story. I mean, it can be simple. Like I cleaned my desk one day and was like, hey guys, want to join me? And I recorded it. And that was my Instagram for the day.
Yeah.
But using things from your life as it happens. If you're out on a walk and you have a thought, record it in your phone. Then you can come back and make something out of it. Or if you are like, man, I really need to post some social content, but you feel overwhelmed by the idea of planning out a month at a time. Guess what? You can post one thing.
Yeah.
That's something. So no more 0 days. Do something every day that contributes just a sprinkle of energy into your business, because that will keep it alive.
Right.
It just keeps it alive. Even if it's just like on life support, it's still alive. So just try to devote just a teensy tiny bit of something each day to your business. It could be just 5 minutes of something, but that's better than nothing. So that's like my number one thing is just no more 0 days.
No more
daily basics, just do something. So, I mean, that's pretty broad in general, but that's really when you feel like you're in survival mode, you almost have to just break it down to the very basic thing. And overwhelm is real. I'll tell you that. I hear a lot of coaches say, oh, overwhelm. I want you to look at it differently. You know what? Overwhelm is overwhelm, and we all get it. We all have it. You have to decide what you can do each day. There's a meme out there that says something like, some days you go to the gym and eat a salad, and other days you live in sweatpants and eat cake all day. It's the same thing. There's balance. And it's just, what can you do today that will move you forward, whatever that is. That's my daily basic. Just do something.
Yeah, or 0 days. I like that very much. That's really cool. April, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for kicking off this series. You guys, I don't know about you, but I am leaving very inspired today by so many things that April said. In fact, we're making quote graphics about some of the things she said because they were so good. So let's build our businesses with ease, and let's build with consistency. Just like April was saying, consistency looks different to everybody. But if you think through no more 0 days and just do one thing, even if all it is post something on social media for your business, that is going to keep you consistent enough to drive the business forward. Building with ease and building with consistency. I know I sound like a broken record because I say those things all the time. Those are absolutely keys to keeping your business moving forward and growing. And when you're ready for strategies, roadmaps, answers, all of the things for your business, reach out. Let's set a free information call. Let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about my group coaching program and get you moving in the right direction. Make an investment in yourself and in your business, and hire a coach or get into a program that is going to fuel you. And when you're ready for a community of support, like April and I were talking about, join me and 1,900 plus other entrepreneurs working together to grow our businesses in my free Facebook group. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur, Get Visible and Grow Your Income. You can come into our group, introduce yourself, promote your offers anytime. You can ask for anything that you need. We've got members that are experts in all areas of business. April is a communications expert. I'm marketing, a sales, business growth. We've got podcast managers, website developers, copywriters, you name it, we've got it, and you can get the support in our group. So the biggest thing I want to share with you today, and the reason why I wanted to do these interviews so badly, I want you to remember, don't go it alone. I say this every single week. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days nobody can remember your name. And I do not want you thinking you're alone feeling that way, because you're not. April is a person who feels that way from time to time. I feel that way from time to time. It doesn't matter if you're on day one, hour one of your business, or you're 15 years in and you're making $40 million a year. We all feel the same way. So have a great balance of the week and the weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So we have got to keep cheering each other on. Okay. April, I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I do see a lot of high fives and cheers and excitement. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, you bet.